Embodying the scene of conduction in the 20th century, Margaret Hillis powerfully led orchestras to sheer excellence. Most notably, Hillis founded the Chicago Chorus Symphony and displayed to the world a sensibility that was both modern and classic simultaneously. Although she passed in 1998, Margaret Hillis is a name that remains as prevalent as ever for conductors around the globe. Margaret Hillis was born in the autumn of 1921 in Kokomo, a fast-growing city in the state of Indiana. Within a few years, the young Hillis began picking up a variety of instruments and learning to play them. She had an avid fascination from the very start, enjoying brass, double bass, woodwind, and her beloved favorite, the piano. Even before she could pick up an instrument, Hillis remembers seeing her grandmother's pipe organ. The environment led her back to instruments time and time again. Whilst Margaret Hillis enjoyed independently making her own music, she discovered the joy of conducting as a teenager. Notably, she found her inspiration while listening to a salsa band, which led her to become the assistant conductor of her high school's orchestra. At the same time, Hillis was passionate about sport and proved herself to be a talented golfer. Swept away by the enjoyment of her passions, her gender did not hold her back from pursuing music conducting. However, Hillis's education and musical development was suspended when World War II began, in replacement for a job as a civilian flight instructor. Nonetheless, Margaret Hillis revisited her musical passion later when she enrolled at Indiana University before graduating with a degree in musical performance. She continued to work hard by attending the prestigious Juilliard School alongside Robert Shaw, whom she later became assistant for. At Juilliard, Hillis learned the skill of conducting. In 1949, she founded the American Concert Choir and Orchestra, then known as the Tanglewood Alumni Chorus, who became a highly successful collective touring worldwide. Also during this time, Margaret Hillis was a choral conductor for the likes of the American Opera Society and the New York City Opera, revisiting Juilliard as a teacher when she was in New York. Whilst Hillis was notably talented at choral conducting, the main reason she chose it was because orchestral conducting was largely a man's world, providing little space or opportunity for women conductors. Never driven by self-interest, Margaret Hillis's career was entwined with charitable sensibility. Hillis founded the American Choral Foundation, for which she was the music director. Its main aim was and continues to be an organization that serves to improve and extend standards of choral performance. Witnessing the true potential among those she taught, Margaret Hillis dedicated much of her career to drawing out the very best in such performances. Her prevalence led to a lot of recognition within the realm of conducting and beyond, most notably when she received Woman of the Year award from Ladies' Home Journal. This was in response to her conduction of Mahler's Symphony No. 8, as performed by the Chicago Symphony Chorus. Chicago Symphony Chorus is often regarded as an example of some of Margaret Hillis's finest work. It is evident Hillis was forming an immaculate reputation, which to this day, more than 20 years since her passing, remains intact and respected amongst many conductors. In an interview with Bruce Duffy, Margaret Hillis discusses her process and her signature style of conduction regarding different versions of Requiem. Hillis was asked if they would sound different depending on the conductor involved. She explained that an orchestra would sound different from conductor to conductor. Yet, in her personal approach, she does not aim to override the composer with her own mark. She respects the intentions of the composer and simply aims to embrace the sound they decide with her conduction. Nonetheless, Hillis notes that she became known for being strict with diction, demonstrating how her conducting had a strict edge to it to be perfect and loyal to its original. Therefore, it is not surprising that during her life, Margaret Hillis was not keen on having a certain style associated with her. Although not producing a music of the mainstream chart variety, she garnered a large amount of recognition for her skill. This is evident since her passing too, where some of her personal belongings are kept at the Rosenthal Archives, part of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra. Items include books, recordings, awards, and scores that she decided to pass over for interest. The legacy she left behind may have been physical in this case, yet she is undoubtedly felt between the realm of choral conduction in general. Hillis is part of a long line of successful ancestry. Most notably, her grandfather, Elwood Haynes, was an inventor. Furthermore, her brother was Elwood Hillis. Elwood Hillis is a Republican politician and is known for being a member of the U.S. House of Representatives. Statistically, Hillis broke many records. She conducted the beloved Chicago Symphony chorus over 600 times, with 45 of those being recordings. It was not until after many decades that she finally retired, lending over responsibility to conductor Dwayne Wolfe in 1994. 4 years after retiring her role with the Chicago Symphony Chorus, Margaret Hillis passed away in Evanston, Illinois. She was 76 years old and had recently been battling lung cancer after lifelong smoking and a lung operation. Unfortunately, the timing meant that Hillis just missed out on the Chicago Symphony Chorus's 40th anniversary since they started. At that point, they had reached 200 members. Margaret Hillis has become an iconic symbol of a determined woman in music, specifically in a part of music which had and continues to be dominated by men. Regardless of any odds against her, Hillis demonstrated true passion and drive in conduction from a very early age. Even as she got older and became less prevalent, Margaret Hillis was still known for holding small, intimate performances and practices at her home in Wilmette. Her family and friends were invited into her space, and as always, she aimed to entertain with her brilliant skills. From Mahler's Symphony No. 8, Symphony of 1000, to Honegger's Kreisman Cantata, and everything else in between, Hillis worked tirelessly to deliver what is now seen as some of the conduction world's most admirable and iconic performances. It is in these where her artistry is immortalized for future girls like Margaret Hillis once was to be moved and motivated to follow in her footsteps. You can check out the Carly of Spotify to listen to the original tracks of the artist. It's a curated playlist with the most popular songs.